Welcome to our series, the Bhagavad Gita for all. Namaskar. Chapter 13, Kṣhetra Kṣhetrajña Vibhāg Yog, or the Yog of the distinction between the field and the knower of the field. Jyotisham apita jyotihi tamasaf paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam riddhi sarvasya vishthitam. I'm sure that many of us can feel an excitement in the air. After all, our most favorite Bappa is all set to pay us a visit as we celebrate Ganesh Chaturthi this week. The festival marks the arrival of Lord Ganesh from Kailash Parbat along with his mother, goddess Parvati or Gauri. Ganpati Bappa is revered as the god of new beginnings, Vignaharta or the destroyer of obstacles, and the god of wisdom and intelligence. Did you know that our very own Marathi Arthi, Sukhakarta Dukhaharta, was composed by the 17th century Saint Samartha Ramdas? It's time to look forward to new things, mingle with family and friends, and of course indulge in some modaks, karanchis, ladus and pedhes. Ganesh Chaturthicha sarvana खूप खूप शुभेच्छा. We've tried to comprehend the existence of God in the previous chapter. There was the formless aspect of Brahma, the worship of a deity in the form of Bhagwan, and the power that rests in you in the form of Paramatma. Shri Krishna says that because the higher power is the supreme reality, the absolute truth, one can find this Brahma everywhere. Any devotion that you offer to him in the form of prayers, in the form of food, or something as simple as thinking about him, can reach him because he's around you, listening to you and watching you. We've said this earlier. One has the freedom to look at devotion from a lens that makes them feel comfortable. Your idea of devotion could be something entirely different, and your belief could be based on the ideologies you have or exercise. In order to know and understand this supreme power, one cannot use one's intellect or senses or just the mind, because God himself is beyond all of these material dimensions. How could one therefore use material energy to try and get closer to him? In a previous chapter, Vishwarupa Darshan Yog, we read how Arjun was able to witness the Lord's divine form because he was blessed with divine vision, a spiritual vision. Rarely do mortals come across such a divine blessing. One can instead focus on doing one's duty diligently. Shri Krishna is described as the one that is the light in all things that illuminate. He is the Jyoti in the Jyotisham and the Jnanam or knowledge in everything that contains knowledge. He is also the goal of knowledge. You can find the source of light, this knowledge, in the heart of all living beings. He is Vedkrit, meaning the one manifested in the Vedas. He is Vedvit, meaning the one who knows the Vedas. And he is Vedvedya, or the one who can be known through the Vedas. What Shri Krishna now tells Arjun is that to know the field and the field of knowledge, one needs bhakti or devotion so that one can get closer to God. This he says so because devotion makes devotees godlike. There are two things that are eternal and bring about transformation. One is the material energy or Prakriti, and the other is the soul or Purush. The only real change that we witness is the different stages through which the soul passes in its material form. We've discussed this before: existence, birth, death, and so on. Let's take this a little further. The soul begins to identify itself with the body it occupies, including the mind and the intellect. With the sensory organs, it experiences sensory pleasures like music, tasty food, or an arresting visual. Not just pleasure, but there's pain too. Say a burn you receive on holding your finger too close to fire, or the death of a loved one. Your life is thus in a dreamlike state. Unless you wake up from it you keep experiencing either the pleasure or the pain. Mankind is by default aware of the consciousness of the universal oneness. But it gets shadowed by man's desires and outwardly pleasures from its senses. Because humans exist in the material world, they have this need for validation, this need of self-aggrandizement. We forget that cosmically we're an insignificant lot. The bandwidth of our existing mental capacity cannot fathom the universe and the cosmic truth thereof. If someone tells you, hey, you don't matter, you will feel offended, angry, and may want to sound out your opinion to this person. But until you realize that this might actually be true, you won't be able to move away from the push and pull of social conditioning. Worrying too much about your image is just going to make you fragile. Everyone's unique, so let's celebrate each one for their uniqueness. Don't exhaust your energy trying to battle oblivion. Dhanyavad.